But we're gonna move on to Catch or Pass. And the first statement for Catch or Pass this week, we got some more basketball for y'all. Devin Booker is a glorified Joe Johnson. And no disrespect to
God,
Joe.
yo.
You mean? No disrespect to Joe. How y'all feel
What?
about
So
that?
can I ask
Yes.
for
Uh-huh.
specification? When you say
hmm
glorified Joe Johnson, are we talking about play style or how much they accomplish in their careers?
No, what I'm talking about is his view from the fans in terms of when Joe Johnson was playing ball, right? When we was watching Joe Johnson play basketball, nobody sat there and said Joe is a one on the championship team. We got people that sit here now and talk about how Devin Booker is a one on a championship team, how this team need to trade for Book, how that team need to trade for Book, and et cetera, et cetera. We treat Devin Booker as if he's a yearly all-star and like he's a top three shooting guard in the league year in and year out, when I don't think he deserved that credit, which is why this is the statement for today.
Pass. Because I think it's almost disrespectful to Devin Booker, and we'll probably disagree a little bit, but I think Devin Booker is a not astronomically better than Joe Johnson because that's kind of crazy. But I think there is a very clear gap with how good Joe Johnson is.
Because
Oh, go ahead.
go. So I'll say this. I'll say on a championship team back then, you can definitely win a chip with Joe as your three, and you could possibly win a chip with Joe as your two. You can definitely win one with him as your three, for sure.
So yeah, I'm still passing because I mean, the argument making is different for Book. First, I want to go like what you said, year in and year out. Book not being a top three shooting guard. I think from after like his third year in the league, year in and year out, you could easily make the argument that he was a top three shooting guard very easily. And just off the
How?
top of because on top of my mind, you consider some shooting guards on top of my mind. You got Harden in this past, like let's say, but like
hmm
8 years,
You've
you have
had Harden, you've
you
had
got Ant,
Clay,
you
you've
got
had Ant, you've
okay,
had D. Mitch.
D
D.
Mitch, right?
Steve Mitch have been better than Book. Yes, that's that's
But
that's just
but that's my
that's
point. You can make that argument, like because you can't say the numbers. You can't, bro. You can't say
This
the
got to the
numbers,
playoffs more. Book got to the finals.
you
right?
can say that. Hold on. Go ahead. Answer your questions because you ain't even go yet. Before I debate y'all.
No, I was just passing, but like at least some of these players, you can make the argument. Like some of these players, like Clay, and we talk about who's better. Some of the people you just named, Harden is the only person I heard you just name that was like, yo, you are clearly not better than Harden. But as far as
So he could
Donovan,
compete with Ant.
bro, I think that's a toss up. Like not a
No, it
toss
is
up.
not.
I think Ant is
No, go ahead.
better, but it's not. Like, he's not shitting on Book. Like Book is like that. If we talking about a two, a bucket getter like that SG. But nonetheless, even still, I'm sorry.
X all
I'm getting upset.
GMs in the NBA right now. If they taking Ant or Book, I bet you only one GM is gonna say Book.
Yes, yes, you're taking it right now. But my point being is like these dudes are not shitting on Book. So you say year in and year out he cannot be a top three shooting guard. I'm disagreeing with that because he hasn't won it. I mean he has a finals trip in a plethora of no not plethora but a couple seasons in the playoffs. But I also think you consider
Three.
three.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think you consider you mean with his performance both in one on that championship run during the regular season, the number he's put up, his raw ability, you can easily make that argument year and out. Up until this point where you have more players in the league, now kind of. But no, I'm gonna pass on at least on the question.
What about you, E?
I'm uh I would pass as well. I'm a lean more towards John in his argument and versus
Mm-hmm.
what and I agree. I understand where you're coming from. I think like Joe Johnson got clutch buckets and clutch moments sometimes in the playoffs as well. Like Joe
Joe
Johnson
Johnson is he's also a four-time All-Star,
he
and
wasn't like defensively.
yes,
He was a part of a couple of those Hawks teams that was one
yes,
seed in the East. But I think that a lot of the teams that Joe Johnson played on, roles that he was, and like what the expectation was of Joe Johnson versus what Book's role has been in the league since he got here, and realistically the lack of help that he's had in Phoenix. I mean, some of that has been his decision to stay there and do loser stuff. But I think like you just said, Ant versus Book is not a debate. I think Ant been to what two Western Conference Finals so far. I
and
think
been
that
the three.
he been to three. If he hasn't, if he went to 1 instead of 3, do you feel like it's an argument?
Yes, but the fact that he been to 3 straight, and then not just that, the way that he performs, the way that he show up, the way that we've seen him take games over and take series over, especially that series against the Lakers last year, he took that over. The series against the Nuggets 2 years before that, he took that series over. We haven't seen Devin Booker take a series over. We haven't seen him lead a team anywhere. The team that went to the finals, their leader was Chris Paul. He was also playing alongside Mikal Bridges. That was probably the best version of Mikal Bridges until this past postseason. That was also probably the best version of DA that we seen outside of these past couple playoff games that he had. He had a legit squad, and all they asked him to do was go get us anywhere from 22 to 25 points a night, and we good.
But I don't think that's the only role that he played for the team. I think that he still was an initiator of offense. I think that a lot of the looks that Mikal Bridges got was because of the threat that Devin Booker caused. I think that when you look at Devin Booker's best team around him, and you look at the best team that Ant has had around him, whether you consider that a team with Cat at his prime or at his best before he got out of here, or you consider that now with Jaden McDaniels looking like we got Jaden McDaniels. Regardless, Book's team got further in the playoffs, and I definitely think that it's a testament that he got to the Western Conference Finals. But in one of those conference finals, I literally watched him not adjust. Now, I'm not going to say that it's folding, but I saw him not rise to the moment. It wasn't a matter of you killed and y'all weren't good enough as a team. Now, do I think that the Wolves were good enough, talented enough, deep enough, no Diddy to beat OKC? No.
No.
No, I don't think so. But I also
Exactly.
don't think that he played to the level that he should have and he was capable of in that series. So when I see that happen and I look at what Book has been around his entire career in Phoenix, again, regardless of not of if that is a choice, because it's reminding me right now of Dame, who chose to stay in Portland for however long, and he never got out the Western Conference Finals, but he also did that in the era of Harden and Steph. So I'm not holding that against him in the same way that somebody can't win with a better team in a different era of basketball.
No, my rebuttal for that is at least Dane was making the postseason year in and year out. Whether he was a first round exit or not, Dane was in the postseason. This was before play in and all this. Now you could get a chance to get in as the 10th seed and et cetera, et cetera. Devin Booker outside of this past season, and once again, it was a play-in type of situation, and it was Jalen Green with 2 back-to-back 30-point games. Not even Devin Booker that got the Suns into the play-in, but outside of him making the postseason this year, when have he made a postseason without a top 75 player? He did not make a postseason without Kevin Durant or Chris Paul.
So are you equating Book not being as nice as I guess you don't think he is to success?
Yes, bro. To 2 things. Some type of winning, and if it's not going to come down to you factor into winning, your numbers got to be astronomical, and his numbers is not. His numbers is 25, 5 and 5. That's great, but no, that's above average. That's not superstar numbers. We keep talking about Book like he got superstar potential. We've been hearing superstar potential for the last 5 years. Devin Booker is 10 years in. He came in at 17. He's 10 years in.
The years he playing next to top 75 talent is the years where he averaged 24, 25. When he by himself.
Okay, what did he average this year by himself? Again, 25.
He wasn't by himself.
When you going to give us 28, 29? When you going to give us that?
This year, Jalen Green was there. The boy Gillespie started to play. They was also not expected
Stop
to do
it. Stop
anything.
it. Colin
Bro,
Gillespie, stop.
He played a role in their squad, bro. I'm not talking about.
He should not take points from Devin Booker, period.
Bro, you gotta look at the system and how they play basketball. I'm not saying what should happen. I'm saying what happened out there. And even still, like you said, Book is 10 years in, so we got a bigger sample size to judge from. You mean like
Devin Booker? We keep treating Devin Booker like he's in pre-K, like he don't got his feet wet already.
Nah, that's not how I view it. But I think that for you to be a glorified Joe Johnson, you got to be in the same role, getting the same type of praise. Joe Johnson never had a Phoenix Suns team where they said, go be the number 2 guy every night, or go be the number 1 guy on this night and give us 25 to 30 for us to have a chance to win. Now he averaged 20 plus on multiple seasons.
He
It was
averaged
key
Joe
when he
Johnson
was
averaged
essential
20,
to that
averaged
squad
23
success.
plus 3 times.
But it was 4 or 5 other guys on the team that you could point to and say, "Go give me a bucket," not 20. But it was other guys that you could depend on to score, to where the pressure on Joe Johnson on a night to night basis, I don't think it equates to what it was for Book, or what we've seen from Book throughout his career.
I'll give you that. The pressure is not the same.
That's why I don't
But
think he's glorified. That's the only reason, because of how the question was worded. But
okay.
I see where you're
No,
coming from with the
yeah,
question.
okay. I'm not mad at your answer at all, Ian. But John, we button heads on this one. We can't talk about this all night. We gotta move on to the
Because, bro,
next thing.
I feel like you disrespecting Book something
No,
crazy, bro. I'm
you
not
know
gonna
what?
lie.
So what we gotta talk about? We gotta talk about Hartenstein and Wemby, and then we got double back on Book. All right. So we're gonna move on to the next statement for catcher pass. Lamar Jackson is under the most pressure in the AFC next season.
Pass. I'm passing. Is we've expected Lamar to succeed for the last 3 or 4 years. We've pointed to, as the season was concluding, even in while the playoffs were still happening, we talked about how deep the quarterback position is in the NFC right now, and how, in terms of young quarterbacks, we don't know who's going to be capable of what. We don't expect a number one seed from the season finals to repeat, or
Go ahead.
anything to that magnitude. So I think that with the rising stars of in the AFC of the Trevor Lawrence, if Bo Nix can come back healthy, I'm not gonna put too much stock in Jay Herbo name, but you know what I mean, like, they division in itself look good. We don't know what California is gonna look like. It's just it's too much talent in the AFC. For us to say, like, yeah, bro, Lamar got the most pressure. He's been an MVP. He's been a top 5 quarterback for 5 years, and we've expected him to win for the last 5 years, and he hasn't. So, hope to see him win, but I'm not putting no more pressure on him than we have already.
Gotcha. So hold on. Before you get your take, John, for me, Ian, that's the main reason why I think he has the most pressure. So one, you already been a multi-time MVP, not a one-time MVP. You got 2 of them things. Some people believe you should have 3. Okay, fine. We already know what your struggles are come postseason. That's well documented. People are looking forward to you changing that. And then you also got to look at the typical threats going into the AFC this year. Patrick Mahomes is dealing. He's coming back from a season-ending injury. People don't know how the Chiefs are going to look going into the year. Same thing with the Broncos that was just in the AFC Championship game. People don't know how they're going to look going into the season. Okay, you're contending with Drake May. A lot of people didn't think the Patriots deserved to be in the bowl last year, but they was there. They're the defending AFC champs. Okay, that's who you got to go up against. And now Josh Allen, he just lost some pieces on offense, and he just lost his head coach. So he's still an MVP as well. So I guess if you want to divide the pressure between them two, but he's also dealing with a new head coach. You're dealing with a new head coach, but that's what you wanted, because it was clear as day a few months ago it was coming down to either you or Harbaugh, because Harbaugh was making it public how you don't like to practice this certain time, how we can't get stuff done because you're late, and et cetera, et cetera. Y'all remember a few months ago, Harbaugh made that public, and then 2 weeks later, he's fired. That's not by coincidence. So you force your coach out the door, you got to get it. What's up? Go ahead, John.
I'm gonna pass with an asterisk because I just think, and I'll give you my asterisk, but I'm gonna pass because I more so to Ian point, because I think I more so lean that way, and I also think when you are, you do have that kind of two, and I think Lamar's kind of special in the case where you that 2-time MVP, numbers is great. You have significantly improved as a passer since the time you stepped in the league, and then people still think you're not quarterbacky enough when all the numbers say otherwise. So I'm a pass on that aspect, but I put an asterisk because I think he is under pressure to maybe not win one, because I think that the AFC and the quarterbacks that are kind of coming up in some of the teams is steep, but at least to perform. Like, even if he loses, I think we can't get to another playoffs this year or even next or even the year after where your worst game of that season once again comes
It's in the
in the AFC
postseason.
championship. yes, the AFC Championship or the round before that, and that has definitely been. And by no means has he been an all-time playoff terrible player. By no means, but every year in and year out, his worst game of the season comes in the playoffs, and that just I think that's where he's kind of under pressure to more so. And he has great playoff performances. Don't get me wrong, but those he has great playoff performances. It's not like he's always ass, but his worst games of the season comes in the postseason. So I think his pressure comes from that aspect. Like, all right, bro, like we get to the postseason, even if we don't win, like you can't. Not to say you can't be the reason that we lose, but it is based on how it looks. You feel me? So I'm a pass on the question though, nonetheless.
So John, the crazy part is, so I put pressure, but I didn't specify on him winning it because, like you, I think they have to at least compete, and he got to be in the AFC Chip game, or
Yeah,
he got to be in the Super Bowl. So if you talking in terms of him performing and being the best player on his team,
yeah, just
come
performing.
postseason, win, lose, or draw, then we on the same page for the
Yeah,
question.
for sure. Because it's been too many. It's just been too many instances now that you're in year like 8-ish or 9 as a two-time MVP, an all-world player, and like I said, you get into the postseason, and the worst game you play that season comes at that time in the L. Like
Like
that,
we can't be in the divisional round and you get outplayed by Drake May.
yeah, that
No,
can't happen. Or even let's say you ask, like let's say Drake May doesn't have a good game either, but you out there 2 picks, fumble, you go 10 of 19 for a buck 70 and 40 rushing yards. Like that can't happen. Like
no. So yeah, you got any last thing to add before we move on to our last topic? Got you.
You know, we green.